In its 26th consecutive season, much has changed for the Pirreli World Challenge Championships, but one tradition remains that delights. We return to the beauty of Tampa Bay and the challenge of the streets of St. Pete. It's time for round 3 and 4 of the Pirreli World Challenge GT and GTS Championships. It's the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Pete. Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Kramer, joined as always by Jeff Lepper, and I think we're in for a treat here. This is such a spectacular venue, running right along the marina, the yachts and the boats out in the harbor. Absolutely beautiful, but it also presents some amazing challenges. And Jeff, it couldn't be more of a 180-degree swing from where we started. The opening 2 rounds at Circuit of the America, that track's billiard table smooth, monster amounts of runoff. Here, it's a street course. It's a challenge.
And it's one line. You got concrete line. There's one way to go. Coda, wide open space. Go everywhere you want to go. Here, there's one line. You get in trouble quick at this track.
And there's that one big airport runway that's wide and it's inviting down into the first turn. And man, it narrows up, and then you're heading down into the streets of the city. And that's one of the challenges here too, isn't it?
It is. This is a hybrid street course. You have the runway. It's concrete. It's very long. High speed here. You turn off onto the city streets like you mentioned. You go through a parking lot. You go around the Dali Museum. You got asphalt, concrete, bumps. It's going to be challenging not only for these drivers but the engineers of these cars.
Yeah, tremendous amount of circuit changes. That makes it an engineer's nightmare or a challenge extraordinaire for those guys that relish that sort of thing. The other thing, Jeff, is for the GT category, over 40 cars. This is 1.8 miles, 14 corners. It's going to get busy with 3 different divisions running.
Yeah, and I think it was a 2-mile course. We would be in trouble, but drivers can hold their breath for about a 1.8 miles.
Exactly. And in the GTS category, this year for the first time, they're running alone. So that gives them more room to get out and really show what they're capable of, and that's going to be spectacular. And we were talking about the multiple divisions in the GT division or class. One of them is brand new this year, and it came about partly as a result of course, the influence of Porsche Motorsport North America, but also by another legendary name in motorsports, Momo. A little bit earlier, this guy right here went and took a look at the new GT Cup class cars presented by Momo.
I'm sitting in Alec Udell's Amsource Capital Panther Pipeline Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car. This is a car that the Pirreli World Challenge officials have brought into a brand new GT Cup presented by Momo class to race coincide with our GT category cars. A full spec series. This is the way the car comes. There is one option you can add to the car, and that is a radio. And there's even a spec for how you're allowed to do the wiring on the radio. 3.8 liters, flat 6 race motor, Pirreli P0 tires, stock brakes amongst everybody the way it comes from Porsche, paddle shifters. This car is trick. Carbon fiber everything. You bolt yourself in and you come race. 10 GT Cup cars presented by Momo at Circuit of the Americas. It's going to be an exciting series this year to watch the development to bridge that gap from GTS to GT, which young Alec Udell has done, moving over from GTS to the new GT Cup presented by Momo.
I'll tell you, those GT Cup cars presented by Momo have already produced some spectacular racing. We saw that at Circuit of the Americas. I think it's going to be a great addition.
I think it's a great addition. It's not only a chance for that step. It was missing a step from GTS to a full GT ride. That fills the gap. Pirreli World Challenge is the only series that has a true built-in ladder system, amateurs to full-on professional.
Absolutely. Of course, we've got a lot more here in our pre-race show for the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Pete. We're going to step away for a minute. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Today's coverage of the Pirreli World Challenge Championships is being brought to you by Nissan, innovation that excites, by Motul, official lubricants of the Pirreli World Challenge, and by the Kia Optima, not your average midsize sedan.
Its effects on society really came about not because I was selfish and wanted one for myself, which I did. It's because I had had a passion my whole life. I wanted to teach myself to build computers. I wanted to build these things for free. I just wanted to do it for the world. And, you know, when you want something, that's what you do the best.
No one forces us to race. We choose to be here. It's the connection to the car. Our ability to control the chaos. That's what drives our passion.
time, no delay. Gotta get going now, there's no more time to waste. More speed, little less haste. 100 miles I'm running, never touch the brakes. See that counting, we can't let them wait. Never late, cause it's time, gotta move quick, gotta move faster. Wanna speed up, gotta move faster. Time is time, it has no master.
Welcome back, everybody. We're getting ever closer to some serious racing action here on the streets of St. Pete for the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Pete. You know, we cover a lot of ground, obviously, in these shows, but one of the things that we want to cover is the challenges of this track. You've talked about it a little bit, you know, that all of the surface changes and the like. The limits here are very clearly defined, and already in some of the racing, we've seen those limits explored with mirrors flying and the like. It's that much of a challenge, isn't it?
Oh, it really is. You're going to have to set your mark, know where to go, find those braking zones, maybe a building, maybe a billboard, maybe a bush, maybe a fountain. That's going to be your braking zone, and hopefully you find something that doesn't move because you want to make sure you keep that consistent. Absolutely. Well, who better to give us a look at this remarkable circuit than a driver who has won around here on this track before, the Flying Scot himself. In our Porsche track preview, it's Ryan Dial.
This is Ryan Dial, driver of the number 31 Effort Racing Porsche GT3R, and this is your Porsche track preview at St. Petersburg, Florida. Front straight here is an actual runway, so we're really bumpy, fifth gear, 150 miles an hour, braking at the 400 marker down to second gears for turns 1. Late apex, make sure you get a good exit. Keep yourself all the way to the right up to third gear through turns 2, and then up to fourth gear through turns 3, almost flat onto the back straight. Probably the best overtaking spot on the track. Up to fifth gear, we're going to go back down to second gear for turn 4, 5, 6. This is a double left, very tight, slowest part of the track. Porsche's really good through here, hard on the power. Up into turn 8, second gear right, 90-degree corner. Watch for the crest in the road in a street course into turn 9. Another big crest. Track really drops away right there. Hard on the power. We're going to go all the way up to fourth gear through the kink. Almost flat, but not quite. Up to fifth, and then we're going to brake at the 300 down to second. Turn 10, second gear, hard on the power. 2 turns to go. We're going into the chicane now. 11 and 12. Fourth gear, almost flat through the first one. A little lift for the second one. Hard on the power. Last corner. Hard on the brakes, second gear. We're going to get a good run out here onto the front straight, good overtaking opportunity, and also very important for lap time. And that was the Porsche track preview with Ryan Dial.
Well, as you can see, it's a pretty incredible challenge, and what an incredible driver to give you a look at it. Speaking of things incredible, we had an incredible announcement that unfolded here just a little while ago here, and it has huge implications. It could literally change the global picture for GT and GT3 racing. And Jeff Lepper here took a moment to do a couple of interviews with some very special people that are setting this whole thing in motion.
Tell us what we're doing in our future. Big announcement this weekend.
We have some great announcement today. Pirreli World Challenge and Blancpain GT Series is going to be partnering on several events. We're here today to announce a great marketing partnership between Pirreli World Challenge and Blancpain GT Series. The top 3 Pirreli World Challenge driver champions will have an all-expense-paid trip to the Baku World Challenge. We'll fly over the cars, we'll fly over the teams, we'll pay for all their expenses to compete with the best of the best. So 3 of the 30 spots will be Pirreli World Challenge drivers in their cars with their brands representing North America. The Blancpain GT Series, it will be our guests at Circuit Americas 2016. Blancpain GT 2015 champions, those 3 cars will be here, St. Petersburg. And finally, Pirreli World Challenge will be going to a Blancpain GT event, the first time ever that Pirreli World Challenge has left the continent to go and do an overseas race. We will perform in Italy in 2016. It will be under Pirreli World Challenge rules as a guest of the Blancpain GT Series.
I'm very glad we can announce this collaboration. It's very important that the key GT3 promoters in the world work together and to bring our series here in America and to welcome the Pirreli World Challenge in Europe.
It's really exciting news for them and for us to truly have a world challenge. You know, coming off of our 25th anniversary, that's a milestone in itself. 25 years of sports car racing competition. You know, for this year, it's our first year of the next 25 years. In March 3rd, 4th, and 5th, They will be here. Blancpain GT is coming to Circuit Americas and will be competing at the Circuit Americas track with Pirreli World Challenge. A great opportunity for Pirreli World Challenge to compete in their endurance series at Circuit Americas. The following 2 weeks later, 3 drivers from Blancpain GT will be here at St. Petersburg. We've invited them to join us to run in a Pirreli World Challenge event, the top 3 2015 champions. At the end of 2016, we will be going to Italy. Pirreli World Challenge for the first time is leaving North America, going to Italy, competing in Pirreli World Challenge event under our rules, probably at Vallelunga. Looking forward to going to Italy, just outside of Rome. And all the teams are as well. So great news today.
Well, exciting stuff, and that helps the growth of the next 25 years.
Yeah, it makes it a little easier, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and certainly adding that world aspect into Pirreli World Challenge.
Seriously, folks, how exciting is this? A collaboration between the globe's really 2 top GT racing series and running together at a couple of venues, one in the U.S., one in Europe. Jeff, I mean, it's a fantastic marriage.
Well, it really pairs up the best of the best on each series worldwide, and then a chance for them to come here and race at COTA. You don't want to miss that. And then Pirreli World Challenge, first time off the continent, getting to go to Italy.
That's true. If you happen to be overseas, maybe swing by. And you know what that means? Passports, dude. We gotta start the application process. It's gonna be worth it, no question of that. Well, coming up now, we have 2 great races for you today. You're gonna get your fill of amazing GT action. First race coming up is round 3 of the GT Championship. We talked about it. 3 different divisions within the GT race, 40 cars plus on this track. The challenge is going to be extraordinary. I think the racing is going to be unreal.
Oh, it will be. The traffic, the surfaces, the track here, the concrete barricades. It's gonna be exciting.
And in the GTS race, which will be the 4th round coming up a little bit later on, can anybody handle the Mustangs? Well, that's why we hold the racing. We're going to find out here in very short order. And that means I got to skedaddle and head to the CBS Sports Network booth. Jeff, you're going to be joined by Jeremy Shaw for the call.
Absolutely. It's going to be great fun. Tune in live, worldchallengetv.com.
It's coming up right now, the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Pete. Enjoy.
Last year's glorious 25th anniversary season signaled the start of a new world challenge. The grid is primed for a non-stop sprint. This is how racing should be. This is the Pirreli World Challenge, now on CBS Sports Network.
Can you see by the dawn's twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous heights ramparts we watch were silently streaming. Bombs burn and keep through the that our flag was there. Does that star span hallelujah.
We're ready to start. Round number 3 of the Pirreli World Challenge GT Cup presented by Momo. 50-minute sprint race, 41 cars set to take the standing start. You'll see 15 different manufacturers here today. I'm going to give you the top 10 in our starting order. Starting in 10th place in the Cadillac Racing ATS VR, Andy Pilgrim. Starting in 9th from Warsaw Newland in the Blancpain Lamborghini Gallardo, Nicky Katzberg. In the 8th position, and the Ferrari 458 GT3 Italia, Olivier Beretta. Starting in 7th in the DeVilbiss Hawk Performance CRP Racing, Audi R8 LMS Ultra, Mike Skeen. Starting in the 6th position, Johnny O'Connell from Valley Branch, Georgia, in his Cadillac Racing ATS VR. Starting in the 5th spot in his K-Pax Racing McLaren 650S, Robert Thorne. From right here in St. Petersburg, Florida, starting in the 4th position
In the always evolving replay Nissan GTR, J.D. Davidson. In third, Ryan Dial from Windermere, Florida, in the Effort Racing Porsche 911 GT3R. Starting in the second position, outside of the front row in his K-Pax Racing McLaren 650S, Kevin Estre. And starting in first, his first career pole in the Pirreli World Challenge, driving the Acura HPD Motorsports Real-Time Racing Acura TLX GT, your pole sitter, Ryan Eversley. One minute?
Not yet.
Okay.
You gotta get this quick.
Let's get you lined up right here.
A hand above that intent on the and then no, you're good. Just this, not this part.
Not that part. Go ahead and right here in the middle. We have 1 minute to command.
Right here? I'd like him right here if I could.
You got this okay, Kyle?
I do.
All right. Just a few more seconds here away from the most famous words in all of motorsports.
You want to turn him around so that
Yeah, turn him around.
Nice.
Make me look good, girls.
It's about 20. Go through your gig. And watch Cal. And for the most famous words in all of motorsports, the global marketing director of Cadillac, Jim Verpillet.
On behalf of our friends at Pirreli Tires and Optima Batteries, and all of our Cadillac dealers, employees, and owners worldwide, welcome to the Cadillac Grand Prix at St. Petersburg. Drivers, start your engines.
And we're ready to go racing. Jeremy Shaw, take it away, buddy.
Thank you very much, Jeff Lepper. What a fantastic grid of cars. 43 cars are on the starting lineup for today's race. They will take a parade lap. They will line up then on the starting grid once again. It'll be a standing start, one of the features of the Pirreli World Challenge. A tremendous spectacle. 15 different manufacturers, as Jeff Lepper said there. And boy, how close this championship is and how much it has evolved over the last 12 months or so. We've got a full grid of cars and all sorts of variety at the front of the field. We had 2 races for the Pirreli World Challenge a few weeks ago at Circuit Americas in Texas, and it was a Ferrari won the first round with the veteran driver Olivier Beretta. In round 2, however, in wet conditions, it was a Frenchman, Kevin Estre, who scored a dominant victory for McLaren in that brand new 650S GT3 car. A tremendous machine and a great performance by that Frenchman. But it is after the first 2 rounds, it is Kevin Estre who leads the points, but by only 6 over Ryan Dial, who drives the Team Effort Racing Porsche. And it is indeed Porsche that leads the Manufacturers' Championship coming into this races in St. Petersburg. So it is a huge lineup of cars and a very, very competitive field getting ready for the start of this race. And if you were here yesterday, you'd have known now what it was towards the end of the day. And starting from the pole position is Ryan Eversley. A brilliant job in that brand new Acura TLX GT car. This is a car that's built to World Challenge specifications rather than the European GT3 specifications used by all of the other cars in the field. So it's kind of a grandfathered car, if you like, in terms of the regulations, and it is the only car in the field with 4-wheel drive. That is exactly what was required yesterday in those wet conditions. A brilliant effort by Ryan Eversley, the 31-year-old from Atlanta, Georgia, to put that car on the pole position in just his 6th ever Pirreli World Challenge start. And he made his return to the series at Circuit Americas at the beginning of this season, having been out of it for several years. So that was a magnificent performance by Ryan Eversley yesterday afternoon. And also in the second race in the wet at Circuit Americas a few weeks ago, an incredible drive by Ryan Eversley to work his way incredibly through the field. He started back in the 25th position. He finished in the 5th position. That was a fine performance by Ryan Eversley. Jeff Lepper has made the trek back here to our booth. Jeff, do you need a breather?
No, I'm good, man.
You're working hard.
I'm going to hold my breath for
do.
50 minutes here because that's what this race is going to be. And it's going to be holding your breath, 41 cars, standing start here at St. Pete. It's going to be an awesome ride.
Well, it certainly is. And there's so many intriguing stories through this field. The local driver, locally based driver, James Davison, lives now in St. Petersburg, originally from Melbourne, Florida. He raced the Indianapolis 500 last season for this always evolving team. And he's just taken to this Nissan incredibly quickly. That whole program was put together just literally a week or so before the first rounds of the season at Circuit Americas. The team has done an amazing job. Ian and Jeff Willis and the AIM Autosport team, Andrew Bourdin, are based up in Toronto, Canada, and they've done a sterling job to get those cars ready for the first race. They've done one day of testing since that first race. On the way down here, they went to a test track in North Carolina, so they got a little bit more data on the cars, but literally they arrived days before the opening races of the season.
Yeah, good development on that as we're looking for that green flag in the back of our field. You saw our Cadillac safety car, the Escalade there, our official safety vehicle for the Pirreli World Challenge. All 41 cars stage up and line up. Watch for the red lights on the left side of your screen. When those Wilden lights turn on, they go out, we go green. 50-minute sprint race for the Cadillac Grand Prix. There's our green flag in the back, waiting for those lights to come on.
That is a long way back there. This is a huge field of cars.
And lights are on, revs are coming up. Evergreen underway, and Ryan Eversley, that all-wheel drive, did not get a good start.
Yes, it did. It made a fantastic start. The car that did not make a good start is the back of the field, one of the Lamborghinis, stalled on the starting line. A poor start, though, from the outside of the front row by Kevin Estra in that number 9 McLaren.
Absolutely. And look at that, the number 37, Alec Udell in his Porsche full course yellow. Looks like we got Drew Riggins parked back there as well in his Audi R8 LMS, and the 37, Max Volker in his Blockbane Lamborghini. Alec Udell in that Porsche. Oh, and there's your points leader in the GT Cup presented by Momo, Colin Thompson, damaged as well.
Wow, yeah, huge damage to the front of that Kelly Moss Motorsports Porsche of Bucks County machine, and that was a great getaway there. The four-wheel drive of Ryan Dalziel's Acura really did tell a magnificent getaway from him. Unfortunately, right back farther down the pack was that car number 37 of Volker, and he started in the 31st position, stalled the car on the grid, and carnage behind him.
Oh, and there's Sloan Uri in that Security National Mortgage Ingalls and Volker's Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car. Colin Thompson pulled over behind the wall as well, damage to his vehicle. There's a young Alec Udell, just besides himself, qualified in the 4th position, had a great run, was really on a pole pace, got balked in the qualifying session. Looking forward today. Unfortunately, huge incident for him. 5 cars involved in this melee at the start.
And that was a brand new car that Sloan Uri was driving this weekend.
It's good to see Max get out under his own power. It looks like he's a little shaking, but he is walking, so we'll get an all clear from our safety staff. But great to see him up and around, and got rocked a little bit there. It was sort of a pinball machine down this straightaway with Maximilian Volker, Sloan Uri. It looks like Alec Udell involved as that as well. Colin Thompson. Very unfortunate incident here. We're going to pull the cars down pit lane. A lot of debris across this front stretch. The safety crews here at St. Petersburg going to do a good job to get this cleaned up. We'll get back under green flag racing as soon as we can.
Yeah, that's... 3 of the leaders in GT Cup then taken out in that instant. We're looking at a replay here of the start, and the Ferrari of Enrique Cesaros also stalled in the middle of the pack there as well. But carnage there farther back, and just decimated the GT Cup field. What a shame for all of those guys there. And I think luckily for car number 81 there was Victor Gomez. He also stalled it. He was on the last position on the grid, and he was able to steer clear of all of that carnage in front of him.
Yeah, so Drew Riggins got clipped by Christina Nielsen there. That shot him over to the left. Not sure what car he bounced off of. That shot, and then Colin Thompson ran in the back of Maximilian Volker, which put him into Sloan Uri. And it's just that chain effect, Jeremy. That's, it's the standing starts are exciting, but sometimes this happens. And looks like safety crews there. That Cadillac Escalade follows the group around, and it's better to have it and not need it than is to need it and not have it. So we really appreciate Tim Turner and Bob Thompson there in that Cadillac Escalade, and Cadillac providing that. They have a complete medical history of all of our drivers, and they're first on the scene there and getting them all checked out here. And that's the most important thing, is make sure these drivers are okay. And Colin Thompson there, your points leader, won both rounds at our Circuit of the Americas, and got to be just absolutely gutted coming into this round.
I mean, and dominated both rounds there as well. A really magnificent performance. Put the car on the pole here, also in GT Cup, but he will play no further role in today's race. Hopefully the Kelly Moss team, in conjunction with True Speed Autosports, can get that car back out again tomorrow, but they've got an awful lot of work to do, because as we saw Sloan Norrie's car there, a lot of damage to the front of that car. As I say, a brand new car. 1 week ago, that car was sitting on the workshop floor in Weissach in Germany. It was flown out to California and picked up by the team, and it's just a heartbreak for them to have that. Well, actually, no, it's flown out to Atlanta. The car was picked up in Atlanta, built up this week into race trim, and now an awful lot of work to repair that car.
With that beautiful Cadillac ATS-V pace car, the official pace car of the Pirreli World Challenge. We got tow trucks on site as well. And I know it's got to be gutted there for Sloan Norrie. Going back to that, the Security National Mortgage, about 80 guests here this weekend, and that True Speed with Tyler, I was talking to Tyler a little bit earlier. It was really happy about the season, running 3 cars with that program, and got to be a huge hit. Is decimated there. Young Alec Udell nowhere to go as Maximilian Volker was coming back across the track after contact with Drew Riggets. Christina Nielsen shot that over there, and unfortunately, we saw that with Cisneros, stalling on the grid. Everybody starts to split, and they have a safety light system from Motorsport Safety Equipment in each car. The yellow light system was going on, as well as the SCCA pro racing staff on the wall with yellow flags to wave. And unfortunately, just not enough warning for these drivers.
No, and bringing the field now through the pit lane, the racetrack pretty much blocked there, so a good decision there by the officials to bring the field down the pit lane and continue on through from there. But this cleanup is going to take quite a while. That was a big accident, and what a shame for all those teams. They've got so much work to do now, and I always wonder about these standing. I love the standing starts, that they are great, but I do wonder the fact that there's not much room between the rows over here, and I do wonder about that. I wonder whether that might be looked at over in the officialdom over the next few weeks or days or even hours. But as you say, an unavoidable accident there for some of those guys caught up at the back of the field, and there's a lot of work those teams are going to have to do.
You mention that because there is a race tomorrow as well, round number 4. So these teams will be working probably pretty late in the day. It's pretty good that we're 11:30 currently right now, so it's a little earlier in the day. You have all day to work on it, and all night before the race tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that is the good news. And that Sloan Norrie car, it was flown out here from Weissach, Germany, out here actually directly to Florida, and it was worked on at the local shop here of Allegra Motorsports. They're not running this weekend, but the Allegra team and Andy Green and all the guys there, Carlos De Quesada's team, they were very helpful in terms of building that car into a race car and getting it onto the racetrack for Sloan Norrie to drive here. Really absolutely turned its first laps yesterday, well, I guess on Thursday afternoon, and then they had a qualifying session yesterday, and Sloan Norrie was struggling a little bit with the setup in the qualifying session. He didn't get, well, not really the setup, but just finding a clear lap in those drying conditions yesterday qualifying. So started in the 4th position, but now out on the first lap.
Saw a shot of Brett Curtis's Borla Turner Motorsports BMW Z4 GT3 down on pit lane. Had the duct tape out there, maybe possible damage from that start, as well as we got the wrecker on site. The little cutoff there between turn 3 with Colin Thompson's car to get that vehicle removed. And good heads-up driving by Colin Thompson, not knowing what was happening behind him, if it was going to get cleared or not, to pull his vehicle there behind the wall. So good job for that young man, and we've seen him have racecraft beyond his years in the first 2 rounds, and showing it as well. Respect for those other drivers pulling that car behind the wall. A couple good stories here. If you look at the running order there, J.D. Davidson and that always evolving Replay XD Nissan Nismo GT3 GTR. Looks like he's back to 7th place. Started in the 4th spot, got a terrible start, but Johnny O'Connell, that traction control, launch control in that Cadillac ATS VR, they've really developed that in those Cadillacs. Johnny O'Connell up to 5th place.
Yeah, certainly was a good start by Johnny O, and talking to him a little bit before the race again, this is the first race for that brand new Cadillac ATS-V GT3 car for this season, so first time ever on a street circuit. And Johnny, he was another guy who got kind of caught up in the pack there during the qualifying session yesterday, but still was delighted to qualify in the 7th position. And his comment afterwards, I think I've got a car that I can race with.
Yeah, watching the field roll through here is getting backed up there in turn number 11. That's simply just due to the slow speed coming down the pit lane there. A lot of people out there on the track trying to slow down and make sure you're safe down pit lane. Well, we're going to catch our breath here really quick, let the track get cleared off, and we'll be right back for our live stream coverage at www.worldchallengetv.com.
Today's coverage of the Pirreli World Challenge Championships is being brought to you by Nissan, innovation that excites, by Motul, official lubricants of the Pirreli World Challenge, and by the Kia Optima, not your average midsize sedan.
Its effects on society really came about because not because I was selfish and wanted one for myself, which I did. It's because I had a passion my whole life. I wanted to teach myself to build computers. I wanted to build these things for free. I just wanted to do it for the world. And, you know, when you want something, that's what you do the best.
No one forces us to race. We choose to be here. It's the connection to the car. Our ability to control the chaos. That's what drives our passion.
Now's the time, no delay. Gotta get going now, there's no more time to waste. More speed, less haste. 100 miles of running, never touch the brakes. See that counting, we can't let them wait. Never late, cause it's time. Gotta move quick, gotta move faster. Wanna speed up, gotta move faster. Time is time, it has no master.
And welcome back here to the Pirreli World Challenge, round number 3 of our GT, GTA, and GT Cup, presented by Momo, part of the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. For our live stream coverage, getting one of those vehicles removed, the Ryder Engineering Lamborghini Gallardo FL2 from Ryder. Unfortunately, Max Volker, as a precautionary measure, going to go get checked out at our medical center. As normally, Jeremy, that's pretty much whenever there's any type of incident on the track at all, the great medical staff at all the racetracks we visit, they do check out the drivers out, make sure they're all okay.
Yeah, they will, particularly when you take multiple impacts there like Maxi Volker did, because he was first of all hit from behind, then the car was kind of shot across to one side of the track, and it rolled across to the other side and was hit again. So, yeah, a very scary moment that would have been for Maxi Volker, but and a lot of damage to that Lamborghini Gallardo.
And due to the time constraints of this compacted schedule with all the different series running here, this is a 50-minute race. We're 11 minutes in right now, so we are constricted by time. We always try to build in a couple of extra minutes in the time here, but as soon as this safety crew can get our cars cleared and we can get back underway, we'll try to get this race underway. But unfortunately, due to the time constraints, it will be a shortened 50-minute race. But I got a guy I know has to love that, is going to be Ryan Eversley, your pole sitter. Kind of got a poor start there in the TLX GT before that, kind of sat there for a minute. You saw Ryan DL kind of try to go around him, and once those 4 Pirelli P0 tires finally hooked up, he got underway.
Oh, yeah, he certainly did. I mean, that car, just four-wheel drive, just rocketed away from the pole position. And the guys on the outside rows, however, were kind of stuck behind Kevin Estra. So the guys immediately behind Kevin Estra on the grid we include James Davison, Olivier Beretta, were involved there. Mike Skeen in car number 2. He managed to dodge his way around there in that bright orange DeVille Biss Audi. But the other guys, particularly Beretta and Davison, were held up quite badly there at the initial start, and both of them lost 5 or 6 positions, because number 33 of James Davison started in the third place, is now back in 8th place, and Olivier Beretta, who started in 6th, is back in 10th.
Yeah, poor start for him, and moving back up there.
Yeah, just because they were held up behind Kevin Escher, that big sort of concertina effect. They had they weren't able to get the launch they wanted, and had to check up a little bit, and that allowed everybody else on the inside line to get a jump ahead of them. It was a very messy start, but when we get back to green here, we are going to be a rolling restart, so hopefully that will be cleaner.
Absolutely, and that's in the story of this world's fastest spring break party here at St. Petersburg. They're 4-5 deep watching the Pirelli World Challenge action here at St. Petersburg. Be able to get underway here in just a few more moments as we get the track cleaned up from our first lap incident
involving, it appears to be, Max Volker, Christina Nielsen, Sloan Uri, Alec Udell. And here's that replay of the start. You see the slow start there from the two McLarens, and then Mayhem breaking back with Drew Riggets getting spun there back into the line of Max Volker and Colin Thompson. There's the hit on Sloan Uri there, and Max will come back across the track, just clipping Colin Thompson. Wow, just a huge hit from Alec Udell on the side of Max Volker's Lamborghini Gallardo. Whew. Scary stuff, but the Pirreli World Challenge and SCCA Pro Racing officials, and of course these homologated FIA GT3 cars built utmost of safety first versus performance, and that's always been the key to, you know, not a lot of injuries anymore that we see in motorsports, and we can all knock on wood and thank the safety crews and the safety equipment for everything that they do.
Yeah, one of the guys who was lucky in that was the car number 30, the Momo Ferrari of Enrique Cisneros, because he also, I think, stalled at that start, and how nobody collected him, I have no idea, because that was it's a frightening moment. You know, if you stall, you can't start here. You know you've got a whole bunch of horsepower behind you, ready to come on past, and if you stall that engine, you can't go anywhere. It's very frightening, just sitting there waiting to see whether or not you are hit. And Cisneros wasn't, Volker was.
Yeah, good shot there of Preston Calvert in that Calvert Dynamics Phoenix Performance Porsche GT3 Cup, presented by Momo. Right behind him, the number 13, Lauren Trefethen, and that's Trefethen Family Vineyards. Had a huge incident in turn number 3 in practice, and the team said they've changed over 30% of the parts on that car to get him back underway. The only laps that car's had since that incident is these yellow flag laps and a standing start.
Yeah, it was a magnificent job there by the ANSA Motorsports team, and they've got that car back out on the grid again, but again, to tell you what, I wouldn't like to see that repair, Bill.
No, not at all, and you better sell some more bottles of wine there, John Trefethen, because we got it going on. And great flyover here, United States Coast Guard coming by, based here right at the Albert Whitfield Airport there. Some great shots of our military, and if you're sitting in the stands and you're a military member and you're sitting there next to that guy, why don't you shake his hand, because him or her hand, and give a huge thank you, because we could not be here today if it wasn't for our men and women of our military forces, armed forces stationed here and abroad worldwide. Just a huge thank you from all of us here at Pirreli World Challenge and St. Petersburg.
So we've got 5 of the GT Cup contenders escaped the carnage there on the first corner. Phil Fogg Jr. done a brilliant job in qualifying to put that number 18 car of True Speed Autosport onto, that's the Zorro Group entry, onto the front row of the grid in GT Cup. And he has now escaped there with Colin Thompson being involved, and Sloan Uri and Alec Udell as well. It's now Phil Fogg Jr. who leads the class in the car number 18, followed by number 97 of Mitch Landry, then Preston Calvert in car number 77, Lorenzo Trefethen in car number 13, and Victor Gomez in car number 81. And Victor Gomez also stalled at the start, but he hasn't even got going yet when the incident was taking place in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to remind everybody that if you're sitting in the stands and listening to us worldwide at world-challengetv.com, don't forget to tune in as well to torque.tv to watch all coverage of the Pirreli World Challenge, behind the scenes, in-car cameras, race replays, all at worldchallengetv.com and torque.tv. This race here, doubleheader weekend for the round number 3 and 4 of our GT Cup and GTA, as well as GTS, will be on CBS Sports Network April 5th, starting at 5 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you tune your TVs into that and set your DVRs now for coverage next Saturday, a week from today, for the expanded coverage, driver interviews. We'll have the winner's circle podium celebrations, as well as those in-car shots from Replay XD. What a great partnership there, having these new replay cameras coming in. It's great stuff.
Yes, indeed. And what a great atmosphere here there is in St. Petersburg. I've been coming to this race on and off, well, the races take place on and off, but since way back in the 80s, and it was a great event back then. It's even better now, certainly, with the back in those days we didn't use these runways and taxiways on the Alfred Willett Airport. We just skirted the north end of the airport, but even then it was a great track, and there was a great atmosphere here then. I actually did a race here at night time in the streets, in an evening race, which was tremendous fun. And again, the atmosphere there, it's developed now into a really big party, because the whole downtown area has been completely redone since those days. awful long time ago. I can't believe it was that long ago. Yeah, they've retained the character of the event and only enhanced it, Jeff.
That wasn't a night race by candlelight, was it?
Yeah, almost.
Oh, almost. Pretty close.
It was just using the street lights, so it's really cool. There were no other lighting at all, just the street lights.
That's what
really
makes
fun.
this event so great. They make it work no matter what they got and challenges they do, as well as these Pirelli World Challenge drivers trying to make it work. Saw some damage there to Nicky Katzberg. Got a little piece of trim coming off his Lamborghini. Don't worry about that Block Pain GT3. And there's Marcelo Hahn. I believe that's our GT. Let me see here. We look through our field. Is that going to be our GTA leader right now? No, it is Marcelo Hahn in that blue pharmaceutical Ryder Engineering Block Pain Lamborghini. And Marcelo Hahn, unfortunately, not able to make the COTA round of the championship here at the season opener, but coming in now, and great to have him back in the series. Had some great success last year, winning multiple races in the GTA category, trying to return to clinch that championship this year. Really wants to do good, and he's on the path to do that right now, sitting first in our GTA class. Yeah,
that Brazilian, a real character, and a pharmaceutical company that he runs over there in Brazil. And yeah, great character. Good to see him back. And I was going to say good catch there, because Jeff Lepper just dropped his radio here, but caught it, then dropped it again. So, but yeah, and it is indeed Marcelo Hahn who leads in the GTA category. That's for the non-professional drivers. Second place in that category is kind of a subclass, because they're running the same GT3 cars as everybody else in the field, other than the GT Cup contenders, the Porsche at the tail end of the field. Second place in GTA is caliber 41. That is Michael Lewis, the youngster who moving up. He won the Porsche GT3 Cup Championship last year, moving up into the Pirelli World Challenge. Won both rounds in GTA very impressively at Circuit of the Americas a few weeks ago, and is maintaining the form here, running inside the top 10.
Yeah, good job for him, and man, it's going to be an exciting race when we do go green. 30 minutes remaining in this race, so when we say it's a 50-minute all-out street brawl from the green flag, with a little less than 30 minutes when we go green here, it's going to be an absolute dogfight.
Yeah, shouldn't be too long to go now. The safety team has done a really good job to get all those damaged cars off the front straight away. There's a lot of damage to those race cars. Also, a lot of fluid dropped on the racetrack as well, and that is a major concern, of course. That, or at least most of that now, has been swept up, and we have completed 8 laps now of the race, but none of them yet under green, unfortunately.
Yeah, one of those incidents that makes it exciting, but also hit or miss on that is looking through these great GT3 machines coming through the turns here at St. Petersburg, Florida. Great shot there of the Mobil 1 Breitling Bentley Continental GT3s. Chris Dyson and Butch Lightsinger in those two Bentleys. Bentley has about 80 to 90 guests here today and tomorrow, so great job and great fan base for our Bentleys, cheering them on. That beautiful Mercedes SLS AMG. Frankie Montecalvo got a chance to spike with him a little bit earlier and did a lot of GT2 racing in Europe there last year. Excited about coming over here and doing the European thing. We talk about Europe, and Jeremy, and yesterday, a huge announcement from Pirelli World Challenge as well as the GT Block Paint Series.
Yeah, indeed. There's going to be some joint races between those two championships next year, including the season opener for the Pirelli World Challenge here in North America. We'll see all the European contenders coming over as well to Circuit of the Americas. That is going to be a fantastic event. It was a really good opener just a few weeks ago this year. Hopefully, though, the weather might be a little bit warmer next year, huh?
Well, we got to keep that European flavor and have that, gray skies and cloudy. But also a championship this year, the 3 winners in our overall GT championship will get their cars flown to Baku and Azerbaijan for the Block Paint GT Series race. Full block paint rules for those GT3 cars, but our season champions will be in Baku. You can turn in live, I'm sure, at worldchallengetv.com for that race. The 3 champions from the block paint GT series from 2015 will make their debut here as well under Pirelli World Challenge rules at St. Petersburg, the second race out. So a lot of great stuff, and then the biggest part of that is next year, 2016, the Pirelli World Challenge show going to Italy. The first time adding that element of world into the Pirelli World Challenge.
Yeah, it's very exciting news there. Certainly a lot of teams are really looking forward to that one, and it's going to be a great opportunity to show off this championship overseas.
Just got the word that 1 lap to go here. We'll get a good chance to look at our VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone. You'll see 2 yellow cones on the side of the fence. We come back on the front stretch there. That is the zone that the driver that is the pole, or basically leading, will have a chance to accelerate between that zone. He gets a chance to choose that
and that is our VP Racing Fuels Acceleration Zone. We get a chance to utilize that here today at St. Petersburg.
Yeah, next time by, that's good news. The track sweepers are completing their work. Drew Reggett's car finally has been dragged out of the way, and we'll be ready to go green in just a minute or so. And I tell you what, all the drivers here, I mean, just running around here under full course caution, they're trying to get as much temperature into the tires and their brakes as they possibly can. But it's awfully difficult when you're running at these reduced speeds. So it's the cars are not going to have a lot of grip. They're not going to have a lot of braking efficiency when they get down into turn one on that first lap of green flag racing.
And we talk about that with the different brake packages. You got iron rotors. Some have the carbon fiber brakes. You got to keep the heat built up in those, and that advantage that Acura TLX GT has of Ryan Eversley, your pole sitter, that advantage slowly slips away here on a rolling restart versus that standing start with that all-wheel drive Acura TLX.
Yeah, it does. And talking to Peter Cunningham shortly before the start of the race, and he feels that there's brand new Acura TLX GT cars. They might not be ultimately, on the ultimate pace in dry conditions yet, because they're very early in their development phase for those two cars, number 42 and the number 43. But he does feel they're competitive, and he does feel that Ryan Eversley, I should say, two Ryans at the front of the field. What are the chances of that? Ryan Eversley, he certainly made a great start to the initial race, and he thinks he should be able to make a good jump here at the restart. Then it's a question of how long can he hold off those other contenders behind him. That Porsche of Ryan Eversley is going to be lurking in his mirrors.
He sure will. We got Ryan Eversley starting from number 1, Ryan DL number 2. Cars streaming down through there. There's your third place in our GT Cup. Preston Calvert trying to get his start going. Safety car down in pit lane. We're waiting for that VP Racing Fuels Acceleration Zone for Ryan Eversley. Cars coming onto the front stretch here. Jerry Russett to give our green flag as we go back underway. Green here for round number 3. Coming down the straightaway there as Ryan Eversley did get a great start, but Johnny O'Connell down the inside of Estrad.
Ryan DL looks to the outside of Ryan Eversley. Can he make it too wide there and get the inside line for turn 2? No, he cannot. He has to tuck it behind that in second place. Johnny O'Connell in car number 3 up into third place.
Yeah, good job for that Cadillac ATS VR as they come down through. 3 wide back there with Nicky Kapsberg, JD Davidson, and Robert Thorne as they come through. And Futez in his hublot Ferrari 458 GT3 Italia. He'll get back underway, but just missed the wall there.
Yeah, Martin Fuentes there. He's loops the Mexican loops that car around, but Ryan Eversley it is who leads from Ryan DL. A really great restart there by Ryan DL. By Ryan Eversley. Ryan DL trying to find a way past, but that four-wheel drive of that Acura just launches it out of turn 8. Through the kink in turn 9 and now into braking for turn 10.
And there's your GTA leader, Marcelo Hahn, having problems trying to get his car back underway. He was your leader in the GTA category all the way back to the back of the field now, and that'll put the youngster, Michael Lewis, up to the lead in our GTA class.
Yeah, second place in the GTA category now will be Brian Heitcott in that 05 Nissan GT Academy. Car number 41.
Coming down this front stretch here, on this runway, the changing conditions, concrete to asphalt, back into a parking lot. Nicky Kapsberg look on the inside of the McLaren of Robert Thorne. A little touch there, Thorne goes around into turn number 1.
Yeah, that was definitely contact there from the Lamborghini and Robert Thorne there. Boy, he's had no luck at all this year. A lot of flame as he tries to refire the engine on that McLaren car number 6, that bright orange McLaren 650S. That was certainly not his fault, and I think you can be fairly sure the race stewards are going to be having a look at that one, because there was definite contact from behind. That is what caused Robert Thorne to spin.
And absolutely, a driver panel now, stewardship led by Brian Till, will be looking at that and seeing where they can adjust on that. But Johnny O'Connell, how about that? Is Mike Skeen able to get around Johnny O'Connell now? Skeen up to third place in that DeVilbiss CRP Racing Audi R8, all with performance help there. But great run from Skeen. Started back in the 7th position. He's up to third place now, final podium.
Wow, yeah, that's hats off to Mike Skeen. I guess he must have made the move that at turn 1. Let's have a look here on the replay as we saw the car just behind, a couple of cars behind. It's the car number 25 of Nicky Kapsberg, just barely clipping the rear end of that number 6 McLaren of Robert Thorne, but it's just enough to turn it around.
Yeah, you get so close there, you're hard on the brakes, hard on the ABS, and just running out of room, and Robert left him a little bit of room there. So battling back here with Olivier Beretta and JD Davidson. I think JD can pass by the back part by the stadium there and see his house from here. That's how close he lives, walks to the track every day, but putting a good run here in his hometown, trying to catch back up to Nicky Katzberg in that Lamborghini. A little bit of a gap pulled over Olivier Beretta now in that R. Ferry Motorsports Ferrari. Ryan Eversley continuing to lead. Wasn't quite sure what this car does after 3 laps on these Pirelli P0 tires, because that's how many hot laps he got here in that abbreviated first practice session on Thursday for our GT cars. We had an incident with Lauren Trefethen in his Porsche 911 GT3 Cup presented by Momo, and that made it a short session. Doing a good job here, still leading, but Ryan Dial, he knows this place by the back of his hand. Won here, had a technical infraction 3 years ago. That win got taken away, unfortunately, and recovered nicely in second place now.
Yeah, and Ryan Dial, he loves this racetrack. As you say, that 2 years ago he made his debut here in the Pirelli World Challenge, driving for True Speed Autosports, actually, now running the cars, several cars in the GT Cup category, and as you say, started third in that race, won it on the road, and then was taken away on a very minor technicality, but he's looking to make amends here. He would love nothing more than to get a victory, particularly as he started off his season as Ryan Dial with the 2 second place finishes. He doesn't want to finish second again, he wants the win.
Watching the cars go through here, first, second, third, we got Johnny O'Connell and Kevin Estre. Kevin Estre, factory McLaren driver, brought over with this K-Pax McLaren team by Flying Lizard, helping prep and maintain those cars. And K-Pax Racing, multiple success here in the Pirelli World Challenge, continuing that, giving the McLaren 650S, that brand new car, its first global victory in GT platform and competition.
Yeah, what a brilliant drive that was in the rain at Circuit Americas. But right behind him now is car number 25. That is Nicky Katzberg. We saw him involved in that minor, well, for him, minor skirmish down in turn 1. It ended up with Robert Thorne spinning out. But Nicky Katzberg, last time around in that number 25 Blancpain Retro Engineering Lamborghini, set the fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 13.8. That compares to our race leader, a 1 minute 14.1. Ryan Eversley, though, really driving nicely at the front of the field. Very tidy, very smooth, very calm, and very consistent as well.
Going back to our GT Cup class presented by Momo, Phil Falk Jr. leading over Mitch Landry, Lauren Trefethen, that Anza Motorsports Trefethen Family Vineyards Porsche, up to third place, getting that car repaired and underway. Here's Ryan Dial trying to either defend from Mike Skeen or put his Porsche behind the mirrors of Ryan Eversley.
The guy that's charging hard, we see Ryan Eversley in the lead of the race in car number 43. His teammate Peter Cunningham, who was disappointed in his qualifying run yesterday, started back in the 14th position, but Peter Cunningham now in car number 42, he also up inside the top 10 and just ahead of Michael Lewis in car number 41. That's the second of the Effort Racing Porsches, and right behind Michael Lewis is Brian Heitkotter in that 05 Nissan GT Academy Nissan GT3 car.
Your leader there in our GT Cup, good shot of that Zorro True Speed Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car, all presented by Momo, and doing a great job as Phil Fogg in that Zorro, and Zorro got a lot of representatives here as well. Private party, kind of like a Granger company there, or your tools through Zorro, so good job for them, and support from Phil Fogg showing what to do. And Mitch Landry coming up from the GTS class to that GT Cup category this year, great job for him. Is Ryan Dial showing the nose on his car, right on the back bumper of Eversley, getting a good run. You saw him square off that corner a little bit, a really late apex into 1, trying to get a run on Eversley, but you get that tight little hairpin and those Pirelli P0 tires, all 4 powering that Acura TLX GT, getting right off the corner. That's allowing Mike Skeen in that DeVilbiss Hawk Performance CRP Racing Audi R8, second place in the championship last year in that Audi, heartbreaker on the standing start there, breaking an axle at Miller Motorsports Park, and ended his championship run with the man right behind him, Johnny O'Connell, your 3-time Pirelli World Challenge and defending champion. That was the Cadillac CTS VR. This is that brand new GT3 homologated GT3 ATS VR. And there's Michael Lewis, that number 41 Effort Porsche.
Yeah, great dicing all the way down the field here. As we watch some of the cars towards the back, and there's Mike Headland making a move down to the inside of Michael Lewis. Michael Lewis lets him go, decides not to contest that position. Chris Dyson, he's running well there as well. He's just got past both of those guys in the last couple of laps. But a new fastest lap of the race last time around, set this time by Andy Pilgrim in car number 8, the second of the Cadillac ATS-V GT3 cars. And the braking there, and Kevin Estre leaves his braking way too late. And as a result of that, Nicky Katzberg says thank you very much indeed, and takes away that 5th position.
Yeah, Kevin Estre, not sure if he has some braking problems there, but you saw that get a little bit loose there through the turn 2 complex there. Kind of side-by-side touch there with J.D. Davidson. That hurt his momentum, as Andy Pilgrim mentioned. He is on a move now, right on the back bumper of that always evolving Nissan GTR. Battle on for our 7th place.
Yeah, it's a great battle all the way. Really, the top 10 cars, there's not a lot to choose between any of them. Or top 9 cars at least. And a bit of a gap back to Peter Cunningham, who is now Chris Dyson in that Bentley Continental GT3 car, car number 16, right on the tail of Peter Cunningham's number 42 Acura. And then behind him is Mike Headland, Michael Lewis, James Sofronis, and Frankie Montecalvo. Frankie Montecalvo in that Mercedes-Benz SLS GT3 was car number 66. Was quick in the first practice session of the weekend, as coincidentally he was at Circuit of the Americas, and then qualified way back down in the pack. Just was not comfortable yesterday in the rain.
And you mentioned Andy Pilgrim setting that fastest race lap, and we mentioned that because that is important, because race number 4, round number 4, race number 2 here this weekend tomorrow, the starting position is based on your fastest race lap today. So we'll see if that plays out and see if Andy Pilgrim can hold that time of a 1:13.726.
Yeah, the top 4 cars, they've got a very slight margin over Nicky Katzberg in 5th place. He cost himself a little bit of momentum with a couple of incidents, but he's now ahead of Kevin Estre, James Davison there in the 7th place, Andy Pilgrim, who's got past Olivier Beretta a couple of laps ago. That the battle for 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th places.
See Marcelo Hahn, after that earlier problem he had in his Lamborghini, starting to go back through the field. There's your Zorro True Speed Porsche 911 of Phil Fogg leading our GT Cup presented by Momo class. In his Porsche right behind him, the battle for second in our GT Cup with Mitch Landry in that Deep South Versa Crane Porsche 911 GT3, and Lauren Trefethen down to the inside here to turn number 1, pass for second in our GT Cup class, Jeremy.
Yes, indeed. So what a fine job there by Lauren Trefethen. He's had that huge crash in the first day on Thursday afternoon. Missed all yesterday's activities, just the car not ready in time. So no laps at all, effectively, prior to the race, and doing a good job there to move himself up in that GT Cup class.
Just getting word from race control that there will be a drive-through penalty for driver of that number 25 block pane Lamborghini Gallardo for the contact with Robert Thorne in that K-Pax McLaren 650S. So Nicky Katzberg, due to that contact, a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, I don't think there can be much complaints there, because clearly the contact was very, very slight, but it was nevertheless that contact that caused Robert Thorne to spin, and that enabled Nicky Katzberg to gain an advantage. And because he gained an advantage, then he will be penalized for that.
Watching the battle here with J.D. Davidson, Andy Pilgrim, and now Olivier Beretta coming up. That's the battle for 7th, soon to be the battle for 6th when Nicky Katzberg serves his penalty and got to be gutted there. Double pole sitter at the Circuit of the Americas, and a penalty there for a blind fine violation coming through, and just not the debut start that he wanted in his Lamborghini Gallardo.
That's exactly right, and done an awful lot of driving this year, Nicky Katzberg. He's been testing all over Europe. He's been racing over here as well. He's going to be racing in Europe as well in that Blancpain GT series, so he's got a lot of time in the cars. But he now comes into the pit lane to serve his drive-through penalty, and that will drop him way, way back in the pack before he's able to resume.
Yeah, not a lot of time left here with just 13 minutes remaining to try to recover and work his way back up. So absolutely gutted. Now the best job, I think, for him, Jeremy, is going to be to put his head down, try to get a lap and get a good starting position for tomorrow.
Yeah, and he's already done that to some degree. We're watching a replay here. We can see the contact left front of the Lamborghini, right rear of the McLaren, just enough to turn the McLaren around. I don't think there'll be any damage to the McLaren. Robert Thorne back now in the 22nd position, and when the Lamborghini resumes, he's going to be farther back than that. He's probably going to be back in the 30s or high 20 position. So a big penalty, but I think certainly justified for the Dutchman.
And got a good scrap coming back here. You saw that coming through as our leaders now getting to the back of our field in our GT class here is Preston Calvert there in his GT Cup presented by Momo Porsche, and the number 77 currently sitting in the 4th place in our GT Cup class. Ryan Eversley about to clear him, and good job and heads up by Preston Calvert moving down to the inside, letting these leaders go. DL's going to see if he can get a little bit of a draft, maybe kind of catch a little bit of a draft, kind of help Eversley down the straightaway, get around him, but kind of about a 3-car gap between our top 4 cars here, Jeremy.
Yeah, there is a little bit, isn't there? Ryan Eversley really is doing a fine job at the front of the field. Very, very consistent lap times. Actually, this time because he had to pass some other traffic a little bit slower, but otherwise his laps had always been within a few tenths of a second, 1 minute 14 second range. And you're right, the top three, they're just inched away, just 7 or 8 car lengths over the Cadillac of Johnny O'Connell in fourth place. So it is Ryan Eversley that leads for Acura in second. And the incident there, whether he made contact on the other wall in turn 2, that's car number 5 of Brian Heitkotter, and he was in second place in the GTA category.
Yeah, making contact with Eric Lux in that Rembrandt Charms Dragon Speed Mercedes-Benz. Got into him, spun him back around, back into the back of the wall, and unfortunately where that is, very dangerous part of the course, and it looks like we're going to be under full course yellow.
Indeed we are, so this is going to be an opportunity to close in again. Brian Heitkotter, he's a gamer. He'd done no racing at all up until 2012, and he won the Nissan GT Academy, which is for drivers who have no racing experience whatsoever other than on their consoles at home in front of their computers. But Brian Heitkotter is a natural. He's already into his 30s, 34 years of age now, but we see a contact again, and it really wasn't Brian Heitkotter's fault. He got a help there from that 08 Mercedes. Duncan Endy got up on the inside curb there coming through turn 2, the left-hander, and Brian Heitkotter was on the outside, and when the Mercedes got up on the curb, it launched the car across the racetrack directly into the left rear corner of Brian Heitkotter, and Brian Heitkotter then goes for a wild ride.
Yeah, and absolutely not one of those things that you would do deliberately, just something that driving, turn a little too sharp there, bounce over that curb and make contact. So unfortunately, back under yellow once again, and you got to think that Ryan Eversley is going to have a new favorite color, and that being yellow here, because I believe that's really going to help this Acura TLX GT.
Yeah, we've got 40 minutes gone in this race now, so just 10 minutes remaining, and it's going to take several minutes certainly to clear away that Nissan GT3 car from the wall at turn 2. Hopefully we'll be able to do that in time to get back to at least a couple of laps of green flag racing.
Well, we'll see how that's going to play out, but right now your running order is Ryan Eversley in that Acura HPD, Acura Motorsports real-time TLX GT leading, has led every lap so far, 21 in the books, half that under green. Ryan Dial, the number 31 Effort Racing Porsche GT3 with World PMO helping on that car. Mike Skeen in that CRP Racing DeVilbiss Hawk Performance Audi R8 LMS, and Johnny O'Connell in our Cadillac Racing ATS VR in the 4th place, and Kevin Estre in that K-Pax McLaren 650S. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be right back with your action here at the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Petersburg.
Today's coverage of the Pirreli World Challenge Championships is being brought to you by Nissan, innovation that excites, by Motul, official lubricants of the Pirreli World Challenge, and by the Kia Optima, not your average midsize sedan.
Its effects on society really came about because, not because I was selfish and wanted one for myself, which I did. It's because I had a passion my whole life. I wanted to teach myself to build computers. I wanted to build these things for free. I just wanted to do it for the world. And, you know, when you want something, that's what you do the best.
No one forces us to race. We choose to be here. It's the connection to the car. Our ability to control the chaos. That's what drives our passion.
Now's the time, no delay. Gotta get going now, there's no more time to waste. More speed, less haste. 100 miles I'm running, never touch the brakes. See that counting, we can't let them wait. Never late, cause it's time. Gotta move quick, gotta move faster. Wanna speed up, gotta move past your time is time. It has no miles,
Give him lots of room.
And welcome back to our live stream coverage at WorldChallengeTV.com. Just getting the tail end of a replay here with that contact here on your screen of Eric Lux and Brian Heitkotter, and unfortunately, Jeremy, Brian got the worst end of that deal.
Yeah, he did. It was really, really unlucky because he seemed to give the Mercedes plenty of room on the inside, but what he wasn't counting on was the Mercedes getting up on that curb and then being launched across the racetrack into the rear corner of that car. So really unfortunate for Brian Heitcott, and it's exactly what this team didn't need, because these cars are brand new to the team. They were run, actually 2013 cars originally, raced by the JRM team in Europe, updated to 2014 spec over the winter or towards the end of last year. But still, it's a steep learning curve for that always evolving AIM Autosport team. And what they wanted to do, their goal was to get 2 cars in the top 10 finish for today's race, and just build the experience and gradually gain the pace in these cars.
We see Brian Highcotter out of the vehicle and standing and in good health, and great to see that as well. You see a driver step out of these cars.
Yeah, it certainly is, and a shame for him that he's not going to take any part, but the good news is he's going to be fighting fit for tomorrow. So it's still Ryan Eversley who leads there, still under caution. Ryan DeYell in second place, Mike Skeen in third. Then the Cadillac, so we've got 5 different manufacturers, 6 different manufacturers in the top 6 positions. That is Acura, Porsche, Audi, Cadillac, McLaren and Nissan. That's again shows the remarkable diversity and competitiveness of the Pirelli World Challenge.
Here's your replay of the incident we had on our start, unfortunately, with Enrique Cisneros stalling his Momo Ferrari 458 GT3 Italia, and really did a good job trying to avoid everything there, but unfortunately was sort of the cause of this incident, causing everybody to divert. Which you saw Drew Riggins get clipped by Christina Nielsen in that Aston Martin, and she avoids that, spins Drew into, looks like Frankie Montecalvo. We're not sure he was involved as well, and then Colin Thompson getting the back of Max Volker into Sloan Urie, back across into Alec Udell. Just that chain reaction and a huge hit from Max Volker, and glad to see that Max did get out under his own power. They took him to the infield care center, so good to see that.
Yeah, Volker didn't stall at the start. I thought he'd stalled at the start, but he didn't. He just made a really slow getaway. When he saw Cisneros having a problem in front of him, he just backed right out of it. So I think he must have had problems getting that car going, because he certainly didn't pick up the pace like he perhaps could have done. So that was what caused a train reaction behind him, but most unfortunate.
See the damage there to the side of that Bayshore Mercedes recycling company there in the Northeast, and Frank Montecalvo, just no fault of his own, just got, it was a ping pong ball there. It was the wall of the ping pong ball, so to speak, and that Mercedes SLS, all part of that Dragon Speed program. And good chance to talk to him a little bit earlier, and one of the great time, just happy to be here in Pirelli World Challenge. Was glad that it's more of a, and I've talked to a lot of drivers, Jeremy, that they're glad to be the only guy in the car. You have a lot of concessions in the endurance racing when you got a couple different drivers.
Yes, sprint racing here, of course, in the Pirelli World Challenge, just single drivers. A lot of these cars, these GT3 cars, in other championships around the world, they have 2 drivers or more for longer distance races. But I think that's one of the attractions of the Pirelli World Challenge. It's just, driver against driver rather than team against team so much. But that Dragon Speed team, they're running second and third in GTA at the moment. Frankie Montecalvo in car number 66 and Eric Lux, the 08 car, right behind him. Those two now running in the 14th and 15th positions. Montecalvo started in the 26th place, but ahead of them both on the racetrack, just a couple of places in front of them in the overall queue, is car number 41, Michael Lewis. He is our GTA subclass leader at the moment in the 12th position overall.
You're looking at our GTA category. You mentioned Lewis. Second place will be Frank Montecalvo, and third will be Eric Lux. So those 2 Dragon Speed Mercedes running second and third in the GTA category.
And I think a guy to watch here, certainly when we get back to green, assuming we get back to green, is going to be Nicky Katzberg. We saw him have to make that drive-through penalty after the contact earlier on with Robert Thorne. He's now in the 17th place, so he's worked his way up several positions, and now he's got a whole train of cars in front of him. Directly in front of him at the restart will be the number 20 Butch Leitzinger Bentley Continental.
Looking at our starting grid for tomorrow, potentially based on fastest race lap, looks like Andy Pilgrim. Provisional pole sitter if we do end under yellow here, which we don't want to do. Nicky Katzberg did just what I said to do. I love it when they make us look good, Jeremy, when he's starting in the second place with his time of a 1:13.792, and Olivier Beretta in third. Yeah, so those top half a dozen cars in the 1:13 range in this race. Andy Pilgrim fastest at 1:13.726. Nicky Katzberg is second at a 1:13.792. And then there's Olivier Beretta in at number 61 Ferrari,
currently running in the 8th position. The veteran for R Ferry Motorsports. He was the winner of the first round at Circuit of the Americas earlier in the month, and he has set the 3rd fastest lap of the race, so that would secure him a position on the inside of the 2nd row for tomorrow's race.
There's your GT Cup presented by Momo leaders Phil Falk Jr. Right behind him, Lauren Trefethen, then Anza Motorsports, Trefethen Family Vineyard Porsche. Great job from that team, and what a way to reward them if we finish as we go with a 2nd place finish. 3rd, Mitch Landry, probably the most gentleman driver here in the field, and I say gentleman driver as he is just a stand-up guy, the best guy to talk to, very humbled, and just loving being out here, and a great job for Mitch Landry back in 3rd in our GT Cup.
Yeah, kept it clean and not made any mistakes, and yeah, that carries a long way.
And unfortunately, Jerry Russett with that white flag, it will be 1 lap to go here behind our Cadillac ATS VR pace car, so final lap. And unfortunately, going to have to end this race under yellow due to the contact with Eric Lux and Brian Highcotter in that Nissan GTR. Gutted for those drivers and gutted for this field, having to end a race under yellow. You do see the replay camera on that. Just got to give a big thing here for our Text to Win program. Here's your chance to win one of those Replay XD Prime X cameras. If you grab your phone and text the word replay to 313131 for your chance to win. Once again, text the word replay to 313131 for your chance to win. And that's going to conclude our field here. Jeremy, I'm going to have you close it out. I'm going to head down to Victory Circle to interview, looks like our race winner, Ryan Eversley, Michael Lewis, and Phil Falk Jr. as they stand. They still got to finish, and we saw that at Long Beach last year. It's not over till that last lap in the checkered flag.
No, that's right. And unfortunately, this race decimated by the 2 lengthy full course cautions, which was really unfortunate for all of us here at the racetrack and all of you watching or listening at home as well. But it will be a victory for Ryan Eversley. What a finely judged victory it was as well. The team, they didn't think they had a race-winning car coming into this weekend, but they took advantage of the conditions yesterday. The wet track yesterday, that 4-wheel drive of that Acura TLX GT car, absolutely perfectly matched. Ryan Eversley took full advantage. And what a great job he did in this race this morning, because he was lapping consistently and fast enough to keep the cars that ultimately might have been a little bit quicker behind him, because he was absolutely mistake-free. He used the advantage of that 4-wheel drive traction off the corners, and Ryan DL in 2nd place in the Effort Racing Porsche, never able to quite get close enough to challenge for the lead. So this will be the 3rd win in the Pirreli World Challenge career for Ryan Eversley, but his first in 5 years. He was out of this championship for quite a long period. But what a great return it has been for him. 2nd place then will finish under yellow will be Ryan DL in the number 31 Effort Racing Porsche. That's his 3rd 2nd place finish in a row in this championship. That will be enough to move him into the championship lead heading into round 4 tomorrow. Johnny O'Connell comes away with a 4th place finish for the Cadillac ATSV GT3 car in car number 3. 5th place for the McLaren of Kevin Estra. That's the K-Pax Flying Lizard Motorsports entry, a new collaboration this season between those teams. And here we are now. The checkered flag will be waving as that Cadillac leads the pace car leads the cars across the start-finish line, and Ryan Eversley ducks down directly underneath the checkered flag. What a character is Ryan Eversley, and he will be just thrilled with this victory for Acura, Acura's first victory in GT category since joining the field with just a few races towards the end of last year. Magnificent performance, but an entire organization. Michael Lewis comes across the line to take the GTA honours in car number 41, also for Effort Racing. 12th place overall for Michael Lewis. 2nd place in that category, Frankie Montecalvo in Mercedes car number 66. Behind him, Eric Lux in a similar Mercedes car number 08. In GT Cup, it is the number 18 Zorro Racing True Speed Autosport entry of Phil Falk Jr., another veteran driver who has been absolutely perfect this weekend. He had a great qualifying run yesterday to put that car on the front row of the grid in GT Cup, and there he comes across the line now to take a very well-earned victory. For Ansler Motorsports, who've repaired the car of Lorenzo Trefethen, a tremendous result for them to come home in 2nd place in car number 13. 3rd place in GT Cup, the car number 97, the Versa Cranes entry of Mitch Landry. Let's run down the top 10 finishes overall then. The race winner, car number 43, Ryan Eversley. For Acura. Second place, Ryan DL, car number 31 for Porsche. Third place, Mike Skeen for Audi. Fourth place, Johnny O'Connell for Cadillac. Fifth place, Kevin Estra for McLaren. Sixth place, James Davison, the local hero here, based in St. Petersburg, in car number 33 in the Nissan. Seventh place, the second of the Cadillacs driven by Andy Pilgrim. Then the first of the Ferraris, car number 61, Olivia Beretta in 8th place. Chris Dyson in the Bentley, car number 16 in 9th place. And in 10th place, Mike Headland in a Ferrari, car number 65. So 8 different manufacturers in the top 10 finishers in this race. Absolutely remarkable. I hope you've enjoyed this race. My name is Jeremy Shaw. Jeff Lepper was with me. He's going to be going down to the Victory Lane celebrations, and we will have much more of this action tomorrow as well. Join us then.
Today's coverage of the Pirreli World Challenge Championships is being brought to you by Nissan, innovation that excites, by Motul, official lubricants of the Pirreli World Challenge, and by the Kia Optima, not your average midsize sedan.
Its effects on society really came about because, not because I was selfish and wanted one for myself, which I did. It's because I had had a passion my whole life. I wanted to teach myself to build computers. I wanted to build these things for free. I just wanted to do it for the world. And, you know, when you want something, that's what you do the best.
No one forces us to race. We choose to be here. It's the connection to the car. Our ability to control the chaos. That's what drives our passion.
Now's the time, no delay. Gotta get going now, there's no more time to waste. More speed, less haste. 100 miles I'm running, never touch the brakes. See that counting, we can't let them wait. Never late, cause it's time, moving quick. Gotta move faster.